In a world with an increasingly complex jiu-jitsu landscape, these two complete fucking morons are here to break things down and give you their unsolicited opinions in the most offensive way possible. We're talking about the Old Man Grappling Hour. Tune in and listen, and we'll have you wondering where that hour just went.
Bomb. Are you gonna run the No Judge It Needed montage too?
Oh, I didn't have that.
Fuck it. Don't worry about it. It was cool when you did it last week, but who gives a shit? The world's ending. Who really cares?
I had the website. The world is ending.
What's up? What's up, Blue Belt Adam? How are you? Don't talk. It's not important. Just say hi.
You might have to for 1 second. Hang on.
I know. Go ahead.
I feel kind of weird because I used Sonny's bathroom and I stepped on his scale he's got in there.
Uh-huh.
And I weigh the same amount that I did when I was 13.
That's impressive.
I weigh 138 pounds right now.
Okay, you don't have to talk anymore. Sonny's back.
You were 138 pounds and you were 13?
I was like 130 pounds when I was
What were you eating?
probably some shit.
That's a pretty big 13-year-old, right? 138
Yeah,
pounds.
you're a
That's
fat
that's
kid.
fat
I was a
little
little
shit.
chubby.
Did people
You were
make
like the
fun of
chunky
you?
kid? Were you good at kickball?
I was a little chunky, but I was good at soccer.
Did you
though.
get picked
You just-
last?
yeah. No, the fat kids always get picked first for kickball. They're the ones that always kick on the fucking.
Everyone liked me when I was in high school, middle school.
All right, you can't talk
Let
anymore.
me share this fucking thing. Did you add the link on the? Yeah, you did.
Oh, you know what
Cool.
I forgot to do was share this
What?
fucker. Where's my phone? It's in my
It's
pocket.
on.
Hold
It's share it. The link's always on. Join the conversation. That's pretty cool. Does that come up automatic? Did you change that?
I did that.
The tech guy, Sonny. No, I just shared it. Should have enough up.
I should get better at this.
Yeah, join the conversation. Cool. So if they click on that link, then they go to StreamYard. Yeah, cool. Dope. All right, cool. I didn't send out any links today. I don't know. It's just I think it's going to be the Kevin and Sonny show for a little bit. I got a couple. I know Justin Whaley's going to want to jump on. He's watching.
I would share it too, but I don't know if I want my grandma to see me. I got my grandma on Facebook. So.
She'll probably
Give me
dig
the
it.
joint back.
Grandma will dig it. No
Robbie,
judges
no-
needed. We can do the sponsors real quick.
NoJudgesNeeded.com.
NoJudgesNeeded.com. Go to NoJudgesNeeded.com. The wonderful banner we have there. Get your fight apparel.
your
No Judges
shit.
Needed. Get your shit. No
They got
Judges
everything,
Needed.
don't
They got
they?
everything you need. Good shit too, man. What's up,
Yeah.
Justin? We'll get you on a little bit. Me and Sonny gonna talk shit for a little bit. We'll get you on.
Doesn't he have like backpacks too now?
He's got all kind of shit.
He's got all
Backpacks,
kinds of stuff. man.
sweatshirts.
So you got to
hats.
go to NoJudgesNeeded.com. Use OMGH as your promo code.
Yeah.
And if you've already used OMGH and you want to try to use it again, it's not going to work. You got to use OMGH 10.
Right. 25% off the first time and then $10 off of spats, rash guards, and fight shorts with the second discount. Two really good discounts. Really good shit too, man. No Judges Needed is awesome. And,
We should make
Troy's
a
awesome.
video so we don't have to say it every time.
Fuck that shit, dude. This is more
Lavender
shit we
Lane
gotta do.
CBD oil and CBD products. Lavender Lane.
Lavender Lane's the shit. It's good. I'm actually got some more coming to me from what's his name? Mark Charles. Yeah,
Well,
man. Go hit some
they're a
Lavender Lane
sponsor.
up. Yeah, he's another sponsor. LavenderLane.com. You get
So that's pretty crazy, man. There's a
OMGH.
fucking curfew in your town tonight.
Oh yeah, man. Fucking 7:30. Shit's gonna go down. Let's talk about something positive first for a second. Then we'll get to that. That is the 300-pound elephant lingering in the room, and I guarantee you it's going to consume the majority of this podcast. But before we get to that, I want to make sure we talk about Billy Q because fucking A, man, Billy Q's such a bad motherfucker. But I love that motherfucker.
Yeah, I didn't get to see the fight, but I heard
dude,
he had a
so
questionable first round, and he came
So
back in
good.
the second
Yeah, but
round and really had a
that's
dominant
his-
third round.
That's his MO though. And this kid he was fighting against in particular is a very fast starter. The Alpha Ginger or something is his name. His nickname. He's a really fast starter. He came out in the first round like hell on wheels, but he gets tired. And Billy Q he's a beast. He's the fucking Terminator. Billy Q will suck your soul away as the fight goes on and break anybody's fucking spirit and will. So the second round was pretty close. And when I was watching it live, I really thought Billy lost. I thought he lost the fight. I thought he lost the first and second round, and then the third round, he ended up winning on the third round for sure. Because at the end of the third round, he just murdered this kid. He literally almost knocked him out within the final seconds of the third round. I think if it would have gone another 20 seconds, he would have knocked him out.
Yeah.
But to my surprise, and to a bunch of people's surprise, I think even Billy was surprised by it. Honestly, to tell you the truth, Billy got his arm raised. And it was cool because when I watched the fight again today, I particularly watched the second round. For sure, the Ginger Alpha won the first round. There was no question about that. He came out strong and fast, and Billy had to weather that storm. Everybody was aware that. Everybody thought that was going to happen. But the second round was tough, and it's cool because watching that second round really leads me to believe that judges are starting to become more educated in calling fights. Because typically when you see a guy that fights off his back, because that's what happened in the second round. The majority of the fight, Billy was on his back. He was fighting off his back. He was, he won a couple positions, but this kid was so strong and athletic that he would, like, when Billy would try to go for his back, like, he'd have a body triangle in, and this kid was just a beast.
It just exploded out of his back control.
It just, with a body triangle, and he would just explode and turn right back into him again. So now he's on top. And, typically it's very difficult to win a fight from your back in an MMA fight, because the problem is that judges don't necessarily understand. They have a set criteria. Takedown, a top position is in their brain is dominant. But when you go back and watch that second round, the Ginger Ninja, whatever the fuck his name is, Ginger Alpha, or whatever the fuck his name is.
Ginger Ninja.
Well, who gives a fuck? There's another fighter called the Ginger Ninja. There's like 3 of them out there. That's like the fucking big one. But Billy was on his back, and he was doing damage. He was landing some elbows. He actually had a dope-ass triangle attack, and he had a couple really close submissions that were real tight. He had one when he was standing late in the second round when it was pretty close and tied, and the Ginger kind of like came in, and Billy strapped a guillotine on and rolled him over and actually almost finished the guillotine and ended up in kind of a mounted position. But again, the kid was so athletic that he powered his way out, and Billy was on the bottom. And then Billy was, landing elbows and got a real nice triangle attempt. So the point of the matter is, in the past, I really believe that round would have gone to the Ginger just based upon takedowns and top position, because that's just the way judges that aren't really educated in jiu-jitsu would score that fight. But
they're counting strikes, and he's striking from the ground. So.
Exactly. But that's weird.
And
it's
elbows
weird
are no bullshit strikes. Elbows are no bullshit strikes.
But it's weird how that works. The dynamic of that works, because untrained judges don't necessarily view that as Billy being dominant simply because he's on the bottom and the other guy's on top. That's just fact. That's just in the past.
You're probably right. Maybe they had some trained judges.
Because when I went back and I watched that round, even if you just take it from a philosophical thought process of who, won that round based upon who was dominant, who was pushing the action, like Billy clearly won. But the parameters based for judging would have distinguished it go the other way. You follow what I'm talking about? So it was pleasing to me to see that Billy did in fact win that round on all 3 of the judges' cards, because it kind of reaffirmed my beliefs and hopes that
was it a split decision or unanimous?
No, unanimous. And literally, bro, I'm not telling you. Watching the fight, and again, I firmly believe no matter what anybody wants to fucking say, Billy won that fight. If you want to look at who was the winner at the end of that fight, like the other guy's face was fucking mauled, and like Billy was still fresh and ready to go. He would have killed him if it went another round. But that's not how fights are fucking scored. Fights are scored by round. That's just the way it fucking goes. I really was worried. I thought for sure. And then when they said it was a unanimous decision, I was like, yeah, there's no way in hell. Billy won the third round, obviously. Then the first and second round went to the other kid. But everybody scored the second round to Billy, which was cool. Because he deserved to win that fight. Oh, God, he's such a fucking beast, man. That kid, dude, I wish you would have seen it, man. That kid is so fucking tough and strong and athletic. And not just tough and strong and athletic. Like, he knows. I think he's a black belt. He knows jiu-jitsu. Like when Billy was trying to put his hooks in, he was getting the baseball grip on the choke arm. You know what I'm talking about? And making it real tough for Billy to get the harness. So based upon that, because Billy couldn't really get the harness on, he would kind of do a forward roll holding onto the arm and then be athletic and strong enough to roll in. So it wasn't just athleticism. The kid was very aware, to his credit. But God, Billy's so fucking good, dude. Billy's like, I love that motherfucker, dude. And then Billy's my baby, man. You know, like you and Kyle. Like Billy's like, I wasn't necessarily his coach. I like to say I was a coach. I showed him some things. I could remember teaching him some boxing stuff a long time ago. And I had been a mentor to him in jiu-jitsu and all that stuff like. But like, I remember Billy when he was like day one. And he came to us after his second MMA fight. So like, he's my baby, man. You know what I'm talking about? Like when I see him up there and I see him fighting, like I have watched that kid come up from ground one and have some kind of a part in that journey from ground one. I was amped up, bro. I was fucking losing my shit. I was watching it at the club. People were like getting afraid. Like when I get up, you know me. When I get into it, I get into it. You know, I was fired up. Motherfuckers had like a little like people were like, "Hey, Coach Kev," but they were also like I had like a little area of sanctuary where no one was around me. I was screaming at the TV, man. Oh man,
Is it the dive bar you work at?
No, we went to that ain't open yet. We went to my buddy's birthday party. He rented out a little room at some club / restaurant that's allowed to be open. So we went there.
Who all went to Vegas with Billy besides Matt?
Dan Rawlings. You know Dan Rawlings?
I've heard his name.
Yeah, Dan Rawlings is the Muay Thai coach at at Gracie Tampa South.
Okay.
Big time Muay Thai coach. Awesome, amazing Muay Thai coach. He coaches Matt Favola and Billy more now. But yeah,
because I would imagine the UFC's got like strict policies on how many people are in your corner.
I think it's two. Shit. I think it's two. Matt Favola got the corner too because he's already a USC fighter, so they gave him the pass. But
that's cool.
And this time the fight was in Vegas,
right
at the Apex facility. So I think they still have that open for the UFC fighters because they're allowed to train there because they're USC fighters. Right. But dude, like if you want to watch, dude, seriously, one of the best fights I've seen in a while. It was such a good fight, and it's interesting to watch because both of the guys had really good jiu-jitsu, and Billy, man, like Billy is the type of guy that uses jiu-jitsu in the manner that it's created for MMA. He understands how to control a dominant position, but still be able to posture up and be effective landing punches, which is difficult for guys that don't cross-train in MMA. You understand what I'm saying? Like, if you don't cross-train in MMA and you're not accustomed to throwing strikes from dominant positions, it's difficult to understand how to maintain control of those dominant positions and still be able to land strikes effectively in order to advance your position and go on into submissions. And Billy does that.
Yeah, because for sure when you're mounted, you got to choose between throwing those punches and keeping your base and all that, right. and it's not just.
And if you come up, guys, no elbow escapes. Right. Ding dongs aren't going to be able to get out of it, but guys that understand jiu-jitsu, when you sacrifice that posturing up, you give up that stuff. And Billy's like I'm not just saying this because Billy's my boo. Like I'm saying it because like I watch a lot of MMA and like Billy fucking gets it. He's very effective in his use of high level MMA because he's a black belt. He's a fucking black belt. Billy's fucking awesome. I think part of it's because the entirety of his jiu-jitsu career was formed while he was an MMA fighter too. So, but anyway, man, can't say enough about it. If you haven't watched that fight, dude, it's still on ESPN Plus. Go watch it. It's fucking awesome. Really
ESPN
an amazing
Plus.
fight. Yeah, so ESPN Plus. It's on both of them. I think ESPN Plus is the backup for it.
I think I have that on my YouTube TV.
Yeah, spend some time to go watch it. It's fucking good, dude. It's that good. It really was. It's a fucking amazing fight. You'll be cheering, even though you know who's gonna win. You'll be cheering. It's really good.
Jesus, Adam, will you shut up?
I know, fucking Adam. What the fuck, dude? So, seriously, what are you doing here today, Adam? You got your blue belt today, right? Tell us your story. Tell us what happened today.
Dude, I wasn't even expecting.
Get closer to the microphone, ding dong. We can't hear you.
Yeah,
fucking blue
really
belt.
Already still making white.
Jesus Christ, Bluey.
No, I really wasn't expecting it because probably like, was it like a week and a half ago or 2 weeks ago? I don't remember. He gave me my second 2 stripes on my white belt.
His
He was-
fourth
or
stripe.
My 4th stripe on my white belt.
Yeah.
I got my 3rd and 4th on my white belt at the same time, and then he was like,
You're basically a blue belt at that point already.
"Yeah." But then he said, "Well, don't expect anything for a while. I'm gonna cook you."
Sonny's a
later."
sick fuck. He wants
'Cause
to
that's what we
get
do.
it.
That's what we
And
do.
then like a
'Cause
week
it's
and a half later,
fuck
it's
joy.
like,
It's literally, I believe it's part of a black belt's job to fuck with their
It's fun.
students.
It's fun. We have to
It's
enjoy it.
like mental games.
It's
You
like,
know?
well,
I was
you-
wondering.
You're
I was
just a
Because
sick
how many
fuck,
times?
dude.
How many times have we been, Kevin? How many
You're
times?
not gonna
have
get to
we-
talk, by the way, Adam. We appreciate you, but you're here just to look cute for a second. So
How
just
many
be proud to be on the
times
show.
have we been to those fucking hoist seminars, right? Where it's like you might get promoted, you might not, and you got to remember those days. You got to roll in front of hoist. Remember that shit?
I think for sure there have been several times when I remember particularly when I thought I was going to get my brown belt and I
You're
didn't.
like,
And I didn't. And like I know for a fact that it was probably because I was arrogant enough to think that I deserved it. And they were probably like, nah. we're just gonna make him wait another 6 months. And yeah, it works, dude. Because it makes you want to strive to get that belt that much more. It makes it that much more important to you.
Yeah, like I didn't even think. I was wondering if I did something that he saw that. But
Put
like,
the microphone closer to your mouth, ding dong.
But what
love
I
it.
remembered
There we
was like I just got submitted by like Brian like 3 times in a row, and then he promoted me. I was like, wow.
Yeah, well, he's a 2-stripe blue belt.
Yeah.
So anyway, Ding Dong over here tells me right after.
Sit back, Adam. Sit back. You could the damn R moves, but pull the thing to
Yeah.
you. You can get comfortable.
So
there you go,
this-
man.
He's like, I'm gonna join the military. I'm like, I just gave you your blue belt, and now you're quitting. That's typical.
That's the classic. What's classic? You used to that. Well, that's why I don't learn names until you get your purple belt. Just because I'm sick of fucking, I'm not going to waste my time trying to remember who you are because you're probably going to leave anyway. When you get your purple belt, you become a human being to me. Which whereupon
next
I
time we
address
see
you
him,
by
he's
your
probably
name.
going to be an Army Ranger or some shit.
No, you'll be back. You'll be back.
No, I'll be back. I'm gonna be training my whole life. Like I
Yeah, you'll
expect.
be back.
I wanna
How old
be-
are you?
I'm 20.
Oh, Jesus, you're a child.
Yeah, like even so, like the reason I got some student loans. It's always been in the back of my mind. It's always been either like a plan
go-
B or C to
go
into
serve
the
your country,
military
man.
for me. So yeah, there's nothing wrong with it.
No,
always
no,
been
for
something
sure.
I've been
Are you going to the army?
Well, initially I was planning to go to the National Guard for the Army because they had a program specific to the school I went to in Massachusetts.
Mm-hmm.
He's being very humble right now.
Yeah, I can tell.
The school is Berkeley College
Oh,
of Music, by the way.
Jesus Christ. Yo, yeah, that's the saxophone kid.
Yes.
Oh.
The very, very talented saxophone kid.
So how the fuck did you bridge the gap between being a musician and the military? I'm curious about this now.
Well, I was always in band in high school, and I had a few friends that were very talented musicians. They ended up enlisting and going through. They have schools. The Virginia Naval Academy of Music is one of the best, schools of music in the world. It's awesome. So like let's say I enlisted in the Marines and I got a job as a musician in the military, but I wanted to go to school at the same time. That's probably where I would
Isn't that
go.
crazy that they have musician jobs in the military?
What do you play the bugle? What the fuck you do? What do you do for the?
They have bands. They perform in ceremonies. I think there's like
I could see that.
Can you imagine like falling off the stage and you get a Purple Heart?
oh yeah, I know. No, but I think there's
That's how I would have got mine.
I know there's a lot of different there's a
Zero
ton of
value
different
valor for me.
groups in the military, but the main performing ones, there's like 13 of them, and only 2 of them are stationed permanently outside of the U.S. There's one in Italy, one in Japan, and then the rest are in the U.S. So the odds were if I was to enlist as a musician, I would be staying somewhere.
Are you considering that enlisting as a musician? Is that part of what you're doing?
See, the main reason why I'm not in school right now is because it took me going to music school to realize I don't need to go to music school to become a good musician.
Right.
So
That's
like,
cool.
yeah, it's cool, but like the main purpose initially, if I was going to go through the National Guard and then go back to school, the reason why I'm not doing that is because just the amount of time that they want me to spend in the Army, because like my tuition would be like over like $120,000 for my last 3 years, and they want me to spend 6 years active duty after I already spent 3 to get my degree in the National Guard.
So I'll tell you one thing, and this is just from someone that is older and been there and done that. 6 years sounds like a lifetime to you right now. And I'm just telling you because I'm older and wiser, and I wish every 6 years that passes, I wish I had it back. 6 years will go by in the blink of an eye. And I'm going to tell you, I'm going to tell you this from someone of experience. At the end of 6 years, you can look back and you can tell yourself, okay, did I do nothing over that 6 year period, or did I spend my life getting better during that 6 year period? And hopefully it's the latter. So don't, and I always tell kids this when they talk about going to, oh my God, I'm going to be a doctor. That's 8 years, 10 years. Like, look, brother, like in 10 years, you're going to wake up and you're going to be 10 years older regardless.
Yeah.
You can be 10 years older and be a doctor, or you can be 10 years older and be a fucking bartender. Trust me, you want to be the doctor.
True.
This is coming from a bartender.
This is coming from a bartender. Seriously. But anyway, I also understand. I also understand that the rationale behind musicianship. But one thing that also bothers me about kids that say, "Oh, why do I need to go to college for?" Because you go to fucking college to learn. You go to fucking college because you don't need a college degree to succeed in the world. You just don't. It's the world we live in now. Some opportunities you do. You don't really need a college degree to be a musician, but you learn a college degree. You go to get your college degree because you learn skills, and you learn avenues of thinking, and you learn ways of higher learning that you're not going to achieve in everyday life, that you'll never be able to get back again. So go to fucking college, you fucking shitbag.
No, my main goal,
But I
the
love
main
you.
thing I'm considering now is that I'm really just considering enlisting for 4 years and simultaneously getting my degree while in the military, because they have programs where I can go to school and get my degree just as easily as I could if I wasn't in the military. But why not do both at the same time?
Yeah.
Because I
You're
don't
a
want
smart kid.
I really don't want to sit with all this debt I have. Because honestly, when I was 18, it was honestly a very impulsive decision that I made. Even though I was good enough to get into the school, and I kind of got gypped on my scholarships. I made a decision when I was young. I'm saying it when I was young, but
When
I'm
he
20
was
years
young.
old.
I know when you
When I
were
was
young.
younger, when I
last
was
summer.
younger, 2 years ago when I was 18.
Yeah. And I get that too. Like, honestly, I don't know that I'm correct in saying that anymore, because the system is so fucked with student loans and fucking it's ridiculous how many people I know that it's almost a fucking racket.
Yeah,
Like, you go to college, you get a degree, and you never pay you're automatically doomed to a life of debt and servitude, just paying off what you fucking went to college so you didn't have to do that. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say something right now.
Yes, sir.
I could do my best to convince him not to go.
Right.
I could say, don't go. I want you to stay around the gym. I want you to keep playing saxophone on my songs. I love you.
Right.
All that. Get better at jiu-jitsu. Open a school one day. All that. I want to tell him that. But here's the thing. You're not going to listen to me.
You're not.
But if he gets a girlfriend, he will stay.
Yeah.
Right.
So ladies, I'm counting on you.
Good looking kid.
He's a very attractive young man here.
Viral.
20 years old, Are you virgin? Never mind.
I
don't
don't
wanna-
What kind of question is that?
I know, right? Now it's getting weird, Sonny. Hey, if he touches you inappropriate, let me know. All right.
I'm getting me too'd by Adam. Holy shit! Your mom actually signed on as herself.
No shit. Don't tell me she figured that out.
Look at that.
My mom.
Look at that.
Mom, how are you? Mommy, I love you. She tells me all the time that I'm not going to comment because I don't want people to think I'm watching. Just shut the fuck up. No, everyone loves you, Mom. You act like everybody, every one of my friends, it's ridiculous. It irritates me because they don't know how much you make me fucking crazy. All of my friends love you so goddamn much. You're like the mom, the official mom of Gracie Tampa South. So, hand check. That's good. Bill Murphy,
think-
we see you back there too. We're gonna get you on in a minute.
I think he
wanna
was
talk about it
talking.
a little
I
bit.
think he was talking to me.
Yeah, right. Keep your distance. Social distancing is important for several aspects of where you're at right now, Adam.
But he is a very attractive young man, and
Yeah.
he's single.
Good kid, musician.
So musician,
Yeah.
yeah. Women love a musician, a sax player. Ooh,
I want you to do the right thing for you, kid, and I just want you to do what's right. And you know,
Meet a girl.
if serving your country is what's right for you, then go do that because there's a lot of valor in doing that. We definitely need people to serve.
Well, I appreciate your opinion.
Yes, right there. Good.
no, what mine's worth of shit, right?
Yeah. Now you're not talking for the rest of the show. Now we're done with you, Blue Belt. You had your moment to shine. I don't care what you fucking. I don't care about you. I don't care what instrument. No, I'll keep the headphones on. But do me a favor. Pull that microphone to your house because if you don't, I'm going to drive to Bradenton. I'm going to smack you on your pretty fucking ass.
He will too.
That was a little bit much. I'm sorry. So
Actually,
let's
why don't
get-
you roll up another blunt?
All right.
Let's get to
I'm
the fucking
designated
nitty-gritty.
blunt roller.
We'll put him to work.
I got to pee real quick. I drank a whole lot of water.
right, go
Communicate. Run it. Roll a
Go-
blunt. Tell a story or something like that. I'll be
Go-
right back.
Go pee pee.
Don't bring anybody on you because I want to talk to you first. I want to talk to you first for a second.
Go pee pee. My God.
I might have to go to the living room to get.
What? Oh, to get stuff.
Yep.
Okay, undo your headphones. You know, don't just like knock over everything on the table.
Good advice.
Oh my God. Let me know who's out there anyway. If anybody. So everybody, I hope everyone's having a fine Sunday afternoon, Sunday early evening. Boy, I really have to start wearing my glasses because shit's really starting to get hard to read. I thought my eyes were just tired, but they can't be tired all the time. You know? But that's what happens when you get old. Your eyes start to go. You know what? This is some shit. I went to get I went to go get a doctor's like a physical or whatever, you know, get checked out because I changed doctors because I love my doctor. It's actually one of my students' parents, Werther's dad. But the guy is so busy that I couldn't even get in to see him anymore. I was in seeing his his underlings or whatever. And every time I went, he's so busy, it would just take so long to get in there. So I just decided to switch to someplace closer to my house. And anyway, the point of the story is when I go in there, I like showing off like that I know my shit, right? So they're like, step on the scale. And I'm like, all right, it's going to be 203. I get on, bam, it's like 202 or something like that. It's like, you know, it's close. She's like, all right, now I'm going to take your height. I'm like, okay, 5'11 and a half. I get on there. She's like, she didn't say anything. I'm like, so what's my height? She's like 5'10 and a half.
Oh, you're taller. You're taller than me.
I said, you mean 5'11 and a half, right? She said, no, 5'10 and a half.
You shrunk?
I said, I'm shrinking. And she says, it happens to all of us. I said, but I'm 47 years old. This shit's not supposed to start happening until you're like fucking 90.
You hunch though. If you
I
stood
do
up straight,
hunch.
because you're taller. You may be a little taller than me, and I'm 5'11". I tell everybody 6 foot just because fuck it. But I'm 5'11 and a half. Who's this? Hello, gents. Seattle. Seattle announced. Hey, what's up, Greg? Oh, it's Greg. Greg
I was just talking about how I need to wear my glasses because my
Yeah.
eyes are going to shit.
I know.
Obviously, yours are too.
I don't know how to make this screen full screen, and I'm so afraid to fuck with it because I'm afraid I'm gonna like turn the whole goddamn thing off. So I'm
Just
not gonna fuck with it.
Click the green left button on the top left of
Yeah.
your browser.
Oh, there we go. All right, that's better. Okay, cool.
Yeah, isn't that beautiful?
That's
Now it's all opened up.
All right, now I got it. We're good. So you want to start getting into it or what? Can we avoid the obvious decline of the fucking Western civilization long enough, or can we start talking about how the world's going to fucking shit, hell in a handbasket? I mean, we can pretend and have fun as long as we possibly can. We might as well just get.
I'll be honest with you. I mean, I have mixed feelings. You know, I have mixed feelings about even the riots. You know, I am one of those people that believes that riots have historically served. I mean, some riots have served historical justice. You know, they've served a historical, like some of the Vietnam protests that turned into riots, and you know, just stuff like that. You know, the civil rights movement, the protests, and it's like that stuff made a difference. And it's like people are protesting now, and nobody wants to see rioting, but people do want to see something different when it comes to the policing of minorities. And someone much smarter than me has to come up with a way of doing that, because my idea is to make every officer carry a blunt. And then when trouble breaks out,
That's your cure for everything.
yeah, when trouble breaks out,
Smoke it,
the
smoke it,
officer
smoke
sits the two parties down that
smoke
had
it,
a problem
smoke it.
with each
We're talking
other.
about it.
Go to a domestic, sir, please sit down, ma'am, please sit down. He busts out a blunt. They start smoking, and they work the shit out. You know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
after you smoke a few puffs, you're like, I don't even know why I was mad at you, baby. You know what
I
I mean?
love
And
you.
then,
I love you, motherfucker.
and then they make up, and then the cop goes on his next one. He has to roll up his next blunt, but he goes on his next call, and that's how we can make the world a better place. Who's this? Jack Fragile? What?
Who is that?
I have no idea. Should we bring
Somebody
him on?
clicked on the link.
I guess so.
Bring him on. What the fuck? See what he's gonna say. Who is this motherfucker?
Hi.
What's going on? Who are
Hi
you?
there.
Here,
I am the Fraggle Boy. And who are you, my silly creatures?
This is gonna be a meal.
I'm Kevin. How are you, brother? You doing all right? Turn his fucking
Oh.
mic down or whatever. He's loud as fuck.
Oh, I'm fine.
Yeah, good.
I don't know how to turn his mic down.
Yeah, fucking whatever.
No,
So,
this
are
is
you really a
like me.
Muppet or are you a real
This will
boy?
last for a little while.
Yeah, I don't know how long. I don't know
Actually,
how
I'm
long
a
you're gonna last.
Fraggle.
You better do something. You better come up with something quick, or you ain't gonna last long. You better fucking make us laugh, or you better fucking piss us off. Because I ain't
I
talking to a
don't know,
Muppet very
but-
long.
I love Fraggle Rock stuff,
All right,
entertainment, food, and
Great.
fitness.
great. All right, fuck
Subscribe
this.
to my channel.
Beat it. Have a nice day.
Thank you.
All right, this fucking weirdo.
I have no idea who
You
that
ain't brain
was.
off or nothing. Kid, if you were a little bit more creative, we would have kept you on. But you weren't even making me laugh. So now you weren't pissing me off or making me laugh. You're just trying to get us to think of fucking weird, creepy pedophile fucking Muppet show, whatever the hell that is.
No, but
Yeah, it's funny. He even put a link on there. It's probably not even a human brain. It's probably probably a robot. What did I do?
I don't know what you did, but yeah, that's my solution is for the weed to carry police. No, for the police to carry weed. I think if the police carry,
police.
that's what happens.
How fucking high are you?
I'm pretty fucking high. Man. We're going on our like 9th blunt of the day, bro.
Maybe
I
for
like the way
you.
you roll.
It's been a fun day.
I had a little
No.
liquid lunch today. I had some mimosas today. I had a little.
Oh, did you?
little-
Oh,
I got a little
shit.
buzz on.
Well, I can't do that because my pancreas.
Yeah, I shouldn't be doing it either, but whatever.
But yeah, that's my solution is for the cops to carry blunts and smoke with the community. I think if cops smoked with the community would be like, yo, these motherfuckers are cool. And next thing you know, there'll be a whole new like cops will be buying weed off of dudes. You know what I mean? It'd be cool.
Right.
Like everybody will be just fucking cool with each other, There'll
Yeah,
still be the
man.
violent criminals, but they'll be few and far between. Police chases will be easy. People will be driving 30. You know what I mean? Because they're fucking high.
I think we just solved it. There we go. Show over. Everybody have a nice day. Thanks for tuning in. NoJudgesNeeded.com. Well, man,
Problem solved.
I applaud you for at least recognizing that, as horrible as the riots are, as much as I disagree with them, and as sad as it is for me to watch it, the important thing that we have to think about as a society is not what is happening, because that is only a symptom of the disease. We have to figure out and solve why it is happening, and it's not about suppressing one person or another or one.
No,
group of
I
people or
honestly
another.
think it's to be truthful now, to be like real. I think it's about more community policing, and I joke about the weed thing, but like there needs to be more police that are policing the communities that they actually live in, because there is a lot of cops that live.
Very good fucking point, man.
Yeah, there's a lot of cops that live in like Sarasota and then drive to Tampa and like police these like bad neighborhoods and shit. And it's like, I really do believe that if you're going to police an area, you should be a part of that community, because then you'll know the people in that community and they'll know you, and you'll get more respect. They'll get more respect. I think it's just better if when the community polices itself in that way. I mean, it's still the law.
I've heard that debate quite a bit. I've heard that debate, and I think, I mean, there's lots of ways that we can come to the conclusion, but it's impossible for us to do anything unless we recognize that there's a fucking problem. And I think that the reason why these people are fucking rioting is, and I'm going to be honest with you, like, I don't believe the issue is 100% based upon racism. All right, I think that the black community gets more light shined on it simply because they're more aware of it, and it's something that there was a time when it was very racist and, you know, intended. And I think that there's unfortunately still racial issues in the country where we have, you know, segregated neighborhoods for whatever reasons that are predominantly black, that, you know, cops now tend to prey upon those black people and African American people, and the crimes are committed against them. But I think the issue more than any of that is the systemic problems that lie in the police department as it is today.
But like this is where the conservative in me comes out, right? Like, you can't just say systemic, right? So we had a guy who put his knee on the neck of a dude and killed him.
Right.
Everybody wants that motherfucker lynched.
Right.
Right.
Okay.
Myself included. Right. I stand beside the people that want that motherfucker to go away. But to say systemic racism in the police, it's like, how do you quantify that? How do you know what I mean? How can you put a number behind that? And B, it's too vague. It's too vague of a term to say, because, dude, if that were true, then there'd be no black cops. I mean, there's plenty of black cops that deal with the same shit that white cops deal with. You know what I mean? So it's hard for me to say systemic racism. It's just
this is where I get to my point. Like, where I say I don't believe the issue is systemically racist. I think the issue is that it's a systemic problem within the police community to condone or to look the other way when good cops that have been on the force for a long time are complete arrogant fucking cocksuckers that feel like they can do whatever the fuck they want to do and get away with it. And it's a fraternal organization that allows these police officers to maintain their jobs. That police officer should not have had his job. He should have been fired several times over. If you look at the complaint list against him, there's like fucking 18 complaints. He was well known throughout the community, at the clubs he worked at and all the other places he worked at, as being a fucking sadistic fucking prick that felt like he was a police officer and the rest of the world, these horrible people he has to deal with for the rest of his life, for his entire life, have no rights.
I can't speak on that because I haven't read anything about the guy.
So I am telling you from firsthand knowledge, because I work in this area. I work at the bar all the time, and I see fucking cops, and I know they have a difficult fucking job because I went back and I watched the video. Not just the video of George Floyd, or what the fuck's his name? Is it George Floyd? Don't make me fucking. I'm
George Floyd.
George Floyd, right? I watched the video of him have the knee on his chest, and he said, "I can't breathe." And I was a bit suspicious, to be perfectly honest with you, because I know for a fact, as someone that is trained in the MMA community, like, if you're being choked and you're falling and you can't breathe, you can't say "I can't breathe." That's not how it fucking works.
Brasco brought up a good point earlier.
Yeah, like, I disagree with that. Like, sometimes it's all the breath you can muster to say "I can't breathe."
Right, but the point I'm trying to say is this. Let me finish my point, okay? So I watched that, and in my mind, I'm thinking to myself, I've seen plenty of people all the time. I see the cops come, and, like, I don't care what anyone says. The cops do not just arbitrarily throw people on the ground and have three people swim around and put their knees on the head. It's usually because they were resisting arrest, or B, they were being confrontational, or the lives of the police officers felt like they were in danger. And I watched the video that led up to that. I watched all the circumstances that led up to that, watching the Times put all the posts. And yes, as much as people want to paint George Floyd as this nice fearing American, God-fearing American, like the guy was fucking pushing counterfeit bills in a convenience store. And the cops came and they tried to arrest him. And he got confrontational. There was a scuffle in the car. And yes, you know what? They held him on the ground and they handcuffed him. But here's where the problem comes in.
You tried to give me a $7 bill last week.
Here's where the problem comes in. This is where the issue starts. Okay? I saw a whole timeline on it. So they called, as George is on the ground, he's complaining about being hurt. So the police officers call an ambulance, and they called on a code 2, which is hey, we've got an issue here. We're gonna need to come check this guy out. Non-emergency status. We wait for the ambulance to come. 2 minutes later, George Floyd becomes unresponsive. They call the ambulance back and they bump it up to a code 3, which means hurry the fuck up. We have an issue here. Someone is going to die.
Right, and nobody rendered aid.
For 4 minutes after they make that call, documented, they make that call, they maintained a presence. They didn't get the guy up and give him CPR and revive him. They kept their knee on his fucking head in the ground. And anyone that knows anything about CPR, 4 minutes is enough to save somebody's life. If they gave him 4 minutes, if they revive him, they attempt to keep his blood flow going, his breathing process going, he could still be alive today.
Now,
and that's the problem.
Here's my question to you, right? Because I talked with Robbie D'Onofrio today. Robbie and I went live earlier today.
I saw that. I didn't watch it. I saw it. I saw you guys were on.
But one of the questions that I posed to Robbie, and I'll pose the same question to you. If you had personally walked up on that scene, what would you have done?
Well, I mean, there's nothing I could do. I would have complained and say, hey, I would say, hey, bro, the guy's unconscious. He's not breathing. You need to fucking help him out. He could die. But I'm a civilian. I'm not going to tackle the fucking cops. No, fuck, they're going to shoot me too. I mean, no, I'm being honest. That's their job. So I'm
just laughing at how matter of fact you said that.
No, here's where I go as a civilian. Like, I'm assuming that you, as someone that swears an oath to protect and serve the community, have the best interest of everyone involved. And I'm telling you this, like, when you swear an oath to protect and serve on the police force, you do not swear an oath to protect and serve the fear-abiding, law-abiding citizens of the country. You don't swear an oath to say, I'm only going to protect the rich white people, or I'm only going to protect the people that I care about. You swear an oath to protect everyone. That means the criminals you arrest, it's your job to make sure they don't die.
But I also think
they're incapacitated and they don't deserve to die. A lot of them haven't committed violent crimes.
I also think the majority of cops agree with you. And the majority of cops, I think, look at this guy as a bad guy.
Okay, but here's the problem. Here's the fucking problem. Yes, he's a bad apple. He's a bad apple because they didn't get rid of him. They need to find. You're not allowed to be a bad apple and be a police officer. It's unfortunate. It's not allowed to happen.
I need to look into what you're talking about with this guy's history because I haven't seen anything about it.
He's got tons of rap sheet, but that's not the point. There needs to
well,
be...
no, that's actually a good point because if the guy has a history of issues, then you're right. What's he still doing on the force?
Well, he's known. So it was known. Everything I've read about him, he was known as being a fucking cunt.
Did we want to bring on Justin Whaley?
Give him a minute. Hold on a second, Justin. Give me a second. Let me quit bitching for a second. I'll bring you on. I love you, Justin. Actually, bring Justin on because he had some good thoughts on this. Because Justin is. I had a comment with Justin earlier today, and Justin is He's a firefighter, and I had a thread that went up today when I put my post up today, and he was talking about the same thing.
Real quick, don't mean to sidebar. I saw a great video the other day where a firefighter had to throw hands with somebody, and he did a great fucking like Uchimata, took the guy down, fucking
choke him out with a hose.
That was great. It was great.
So Justin talked about this firsthand. And when I talk about this in regards to the idea that, like, whether you want to believe it or not, there are fucking fuckhead cops out there, and there's a lot of them. And the fraternal order of the policing organization looks out for one another. They say, oh man, Tom's a good dude. He just had a bad day.
Tom's he's an awesome cop. He's just he's just having a hard problem. What happens is when people fucking die, and then when these people that are the subjects, because black people, African American people, unfortunately, like, again, I don't think it's racist, in my opinion. I think it's just a matter of fucking, you get fed up with dealing with fuckheads. Because I do it all the time. I work at a bar and homeless people. I fucking hate fuckheads. They piss me off. But like, it doesn't mean I can go kill the motherfuckers.
I also think
I still got a job to do.
I also think, Kevin, that the media is partly responsible for this.
Yes, 100%. But
and
that's
the reason,
not the fucking point. The point is this has happened so many goddamn times, over and over and over again.
That is exactly my point.
But but the problem is peacefully people have tried to do something about this. Fucking Colin Kaepernick takes a knee in an NFL. What happens? Everyone says he's un-American. He's a piece of shit. He doesn't support the flag. Maybe they're right, but he's doing his best to call attention to something. Black Lives Matters comes out. What do you say? Oh, they're just anti-police. They're just this, there's that. They try their best to do something about it. We still get fucking body count. So now they're like, fuck you. You know what? I'm going to go blow up a fucking Target because you're not paying attention to me. And now there's really angry people, but there's also people that are just opportunistic that are taking advantage of it. And that's what happens when fucking riots start.
All right, let me ask
now
you
get the fuckheads to jump in.
Let me ask you a real question here.
Sure. You're going to talk in a second, Jess. I'm sorry. I'm so fucking fired up.
And this is the reason why I believe that the media has a major role to play in this. Because if you look at the stats, and somebody posted them, I forget who it was, but it was something like, so far this year, 400 and some odd white people have been killed by police, while 200 and some odd black people have been killed by police.
But go ahead.
So my point is, when a white guy gets killed by police, shit doesn't get covered on the news ever. But when a black guy gets killed by the police,
yeah, for sure,
it gets covered. And that's why you have this. That's why you have this lopsided view. Not saying you, but like the world has this lopsided view of what the police is like out in the community. I don't think they're policing black people any differently than they're policing white people, because the numbers show it. When it comes to deaths specifically, the numbers show it.
But it's a matter of communities, and it's a matter of a particular community. So I mean, you can't pretend like we don't live in a segregated world. You can't pretend that it's not written in the law, but you can't pretend like you don't drive through neighborhoods and go, this is a black neighborhood, or you drive through neighborhoods and go, it's a white neighborhood. That's just the way it fucking rolls. And it's not meant to be that way. It's just the way shit fucking happens. Like, there was a time when it was meant to be that way, but it just kind of carried over, and that's just the way it fucking goes. So now, when you have a police officer that's having a bad day, sick of dealing with fucking bullshit, hates his fucking job, and hates all the fucking horrible fucking shit he has to do every fucking day, now he's looking for things because he's tired. He's trying to be proactive, and he's already hairline trigger. And when he's in a black community as a police officer, predominantly black community, unfortunately, those black people feel like they're being violated. In the same way that, but you're right on that. You are very right on that. And I want to not believe that. I want to believe that the media isn't trying to fucking milk this fucking thing, but they are. They really are. I don't believe the issue is systemically racist. I think the issue lies with the good old boy politics of the police department that just refuses to fucking change and says, you're absolutely right, we're going to do this. But behind the scenes, they do whatever the fuck they want to do.
Just to give you for instance, right? Like back in the 90s, CNN was a middle of the road network. They're not like they are now. But back in the 90s, CNN was like, I would say a valid news source. It was a good place to get your information from. And people tried to call CNN the liberal media back then. And when I was going to school for journalism, what I learned was that it's not that they're trying to be liberal. It's just that they're trying to be first. Like, it's a lot of the mistakes that the news makes is because they want to be first.
That's always the problem.
But nowadays it's different. Nowadays the media is completely biased. Like I don't believe, like, whether it's Fox, CNN, MSNBC, ABC, CBS, they're all fucked. You know what I mean?
So historically, all news organizations have tilted to a political side. There's no, you can't make any beans about that. New York Times is always a liberal newspaper, and like the Wall Street Journal was always conservative. You know what I'm talking about? That's just the way it fucking rolled. There's Tampa Bay Times is traditionally a conservative newspaper, and then St. Pete Times was a little more liberal. That's just the way it's always been. But when we're dealing with news broadcasters, like you're dealing with news in real time, when someone writes a newspaper article, they don't just write it and print it out. Like you have to, when newspapers were around, you actually had people that vetted the information. Editors went through and said, okay, do you have sources? Is this real?
Remember those
news?
days?
Remember those days? Unfortunately, now, just like you said, when we're living in a world of real-time news where the first one to get the headline out wins the viewership, they don't give a fuck that journalistic integrity has slipped away. So they're so prone to just until now, we don't even have news anymore. We don't have vetted news organizations. We just have assholes that print whatever the fuck they want to print out because they're going to get the headline out first, man. Anyway, I don't want to go down that road yet. So I want to get. Go ahead. I'm sorry. I'm going to cut you off, but I want to get Justin's opinion on the police department because he works and he had some interesting comments about showing up on
firefighters
routes.
hate the police. They call them the Blue Canaries. Isn't that true? Am I telling lies? Don't you guys call them the Blue Canaries?
I wouldn't go that far. I've got a lot of good friends that are on the force. Had a lot of good dealings with them, throughout my career here and on the ambulance. But I was talking to Kevin about it earlier. So like my concern was if I would, like you guys were talking earlier, if you would see that just walking down the street, privately, not working, whatever, but also if I would show up on that ambulance and how I would have to deal with that.
Right.
I mean, because like you said,
and by that you're talking in particular about an instance where that there was some form of police brutality involved, which resulted in serious catastrophic damage or some kind of fatality that you now have to address, and that the guy who fucking did it is standing right next to you.
Yeah, and like I said, I am very lucky. The guys that I get to work with are stand-up guys. I don't think I would ever have to deal with that around here.
I'm sorry if I'm putting you on the point. I know you're good.
No,
I'm
you're
not trying
good.
to put you. I know you don't want to talk shit about your fucking friends and shit.
No,
like that.
but if that would ever happen, I don't know how, and I know how I'd feel about it. It'd piss me off.
Right.
You brought up him being unresponsive for what was like 4 minutes before the ambulance showed up.
Right.
So I know whenever officers go through training, they go through like what they call positional asphyxia, to where they don't leave people on their stomach.
Asphyxiation.
What was that?
Postural asphyxiation.
Yes. So whenever they're left on their stomach like that, they can't breathe very well anyways. And then the knee on the neck doesn't help and everything like that. And it's just it amazes me that somebody there, at least one of the officers, didn't say, hey dude, this is not a good thing. And like I actually spoke to one of my officer friends because I asked him, I was like, well, what would you suggest somebody do if they were just walking down the street and seeing that? Because I'm like Kevin, I don't want to get shot. I don't want to be the guy that's on the ground with a knee in my neck either.
Because you're getting arrested next.
Yeah. So, and he suggested, and this is coming from an officer, he said, the best thing you can do is film and, try to argue your point, obviously, while you're doing it, but, film, be safe because you don't want to be that person. But
interestingly enough, when you talked about that, and this is again where we start to talk about like the evils of the police force.
Yeah.
Like the gentleman that's in all the problem, he was on the force for like fucking 18 years. So you're talking about a senior police officer that's been along for a long time. And like it was very clear if you watch the entirety of the video, it was very clear when he showed up that all of the other new officers were kind of looking to him for
like falling in line.
Right. So when you're in a situation, where you're in a real-time situation, in real life things, like you're just fucking, you're in the moment and you're just like, oh, well, fuck, dude. Like, what the fuck's his name? The officer? Anybody remember? I can't remember his fucking name. I should probably be more prepared for this. But anyway, who cares? Chavala or some shit like that. He is like, he's sitting there and it looks like he is taking control of the situation. He's taking control of the scenario. So all of the other officers are in turn looking at him and saying, okay, cool. Like, he must know what he's doing because he's the senior guy. So we let this happen. And that's the fucking problem.
Yeah.
Can I just jump in for real quick? Lorraine. I think, is it Lorraine? Lorraine Mendez. Who is that?
She's the doctor. Lorenz, the doctor comes on.
Oh yeah. If she wants to come on, the link is in the description.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
If you want, you just click on the link, honey. If you want to come on, it's up top. But yeah, but that's what makes me fucking crazy, and that's where we're at right now. And I believe me, I don't want riots because I'm a fucking victim. If I'm driving down the fucking street tonight and I'm in the wrong fucking area, they're gonna be banging on my fucking car. And I like the motherfuckers. You know, I think they're right, but they don't know because the hysteria fucking grows and they want to prove a point and they're angry. And I can't say I disagree with them for being right. I don't agree with the rioting, but it's the fucking, there's a great story it's a great quote from Voltaire, man. The difference between a starving man and a piece of bread is sometimes a pan of glass. You know what I'm talking about? Like, if you got to go out there and do what the fuck you got to do to survive, smash the glass and get the bread. Think outside the box, Ding Dong. Look at Adam.
I'm way too fucking high for that one. That was
you were talking about people getting hurt that aren't part of that. Did you see I believe it was a shop owner that like he was trying to protect his shop and just got the shit kicked out of him by like 20 people.
Some old lady in a wheelchair. I saw 2 police officers that got separated from their group in Chicago that were literally, it looked to me like it was like Black Hawk Down. Like if people wouldn't have
they protected them.
Luckily, there was a crew that said, like, within the riot or whatever, they're like, oh, we can't let this happen. They kind of like made a perimeter to protect it, but they would have beat them in the street. They were dragging them down the street.
You had that guy that got drugged by the FedEx truck. Did you see that?
No.
Oh man. So like there was a FedEx truck that had a double trailer, if that makes sense, has the trailer with the split in the middle. At any rate, they were like beating the shit out of his truck and all this stuff, telling him to back up and everything. He was just trying to get through the street, obviously working.
Job.
And this guy got in between the 2 trailers. And I don't know whether he was trying to like cut the lines or separate them or what. This driver takes off. Well, the worst happens. This guy gets underneath the trailer and gets ran over and drugged. And obviously I'm assuming got killed.
Right.
And I mean, it's terrible, but I mean, stuff like that. It's like,
it's
this
where
protest
we
is not
are
working
now,
out.
man. It's where we are now, and like the problem is like, man, I'm ready to fucking shoot a motherfucker. I got my guns loaded and ready to rock and roll, man. Like, because I live right down the street from the fucking hood, right across the street. I was driving through just to see if they were fucking organizing, and I got no problems with them. I appreciate what you're doing, but like I protected myself on my own. Yeah. You know, and I'm not. That's the problem when ideologies start to rule the world, because now you're pissed off. You're not pissed off at a person. You're pissed off at what they represent.
And a movement.
Yeah. And it sucks, man. Like the police are out there in full force now with fucking with their billy clubs and fucking and fucking riot gear. And to tell you the truth, I don't fucking blame them.
Well, and I did hear earlier.
Themselves.
So on the news, they were talking about the police and the SWAT gear were all carrying like non-lethal rounds, which, if that's what you can use and to try to subdue the people that are trying to harm you or harm everybody else, I understand that. But then they were
non-lethal doesn't mean it don't fuck you up. Non-lethal.
As Dave Chappelle pointed out in his last special, Birdshot, just pepper a motherfucker up. Pepper him up real nice.
But they were talking about the National Guard. They said, they're not fucking with that. They've got the real shit. So
they come to shoot to kill, man. It's just fucked up, man. I'm saddened. And again, we get angry and we can be mad. And
it's like I told
I'm
from Southern Indiana, so I'm like the odd duck here sometimes. I'm like, it sucks. It pisses me off. And like I said, I'm very lucky. The cops that I deal with here are awesome. I've never had to deal with really somebody that bad. Something that I did mention this whenever I was commenting back to you earlier. I wish they would allow the FTOs, the field training officers, whenever they see that bad apple, as you called it, out, done, gone. No 18 years in service.
It doesn't matter. Sorry, put them in an office job. You can't be on. You can't be on the field anymore. It's unfortunate. You ain't got to get fired, but you can't go out there. You can't act like that anymore, because that's what happens. And again, it's just like what I told Sonny. When you sign a piece of paper and you swear an oath to be a police officer, you're not swearing an oath to protect the people that you think are cool. You're swearing an oath to protect everyone. And some of the people you're protecting are fucking shitbags and suck.
Yeah.
But it's your job to make sure they're fucking safe and okay. And that's what you fucking like you. If you show up on a at a house and somebody's dying and that person is a fucking child molester, I don't know what that one, but you know, is a piece of shit. What do? You save their lives because that's what you fucking swore an oath to do, man.
Yeah.
You know, it's the same fucking shit, man. These cops, they get these God complexes and they feel like they're bigger than everything. And like, I'm here to control and regulate and you don't know anything. And I'm going to teach you a fucking lesson. No, fuck you, dude. You're burnt out. You're burnt out.
Yeah.
And they need to do a better job. And it needs to be like consensus. You got to get police involved. You got to get psychologists involved. You got to get community figures involved. We have to figure out a plan of action. If it means they get, you know, rotated around to some of the more dubious fucking areas, and so be it. You know, if it means they make a little bit of money, because a lot of these guys, like the old school dudes, they've been around forever. They got seniority. They get the good beats.
All right. I'm gonna try one more time.
Blunts.
Edibles.
Edibles. That's good.
That's even better.
But they got to come up with something, man. They have to give
Edibles
people
edibles
time
for
off.
the cops. When you
Yeah.
start your shift, you pop a brownie.
Hey,
We
can
went
you
an
do
hour
donuts? Because I mean, that's the
That's right.
thing,
Thank-
right?
Yeah, thanks for coming on, dude. I appreciate you, man. Like I just I'm just sad, man. It's not
Yeah.
even like I'm angry. I'm sad. I'm truly sad that this is the world that we have to live in now. And just to say, whoa, we got some bad apples. No, that ain't
Yeah,
cutting
that's
it no
not.
more. It's not.
Well, and what sucks, I know I got to get off here. You guys got other stuff to do, but like,
not really. No.
well, so whatever this whole coronavirus thing,
Send Bill Murphy a link, Sonny, if you think about it.
not to turn back the clock here, but I think I'd mentioned this before. So whenever the whole coronavirus thing started, you get immersed in it. That's all that you've lived that for a month or whatever, and it just takes you down. Well, now for the last 2 days, it's been nothing but this on TV, and it's gonna be the same thing over again. It feels like everybody's just down.
It's a fucking nightmare, man. And I believe me, I wanted to be positive, but I got to get this off my fucking chest. But I got to blow this thing out.
There's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that whatsoever.
I can't. I spent the first few days thinking about, well, you know, riots don't solve anything. This is horrible. I can't believe you guys are doing this. It's, you know, not necessarily disgraceful, sad, but like, you know, bullshit. But then I started thinking about it and I realized, no, dude, this is what happens in the world when people are pushed to the point where they realize they think that they're not being represented. They go out and they react in this manner, and that's what human beings do. And that's the scary part of human nature. And sometimes there are fuckheads that manipulate the system and take advantage of it. And there's probably just some motherfuckers that just want to go get a free TV.
Yeah.
But you empower them to do that because now they're doing it from a place of righteousness because they're like, fuck this. George Floyd got killed. I can go loot and burn down a fucking Target and have a party because of it.
The whole Viva la Resistance type kind of thing.
All right, brother, man. Take it easy, homie. You're the best, dude. Thanks for jumping on, man. We're going to talk to the fucking professor over here for a little bit, and maybe he can calm me down.
Hey, I'll enjoy.
Thanks,
Y'all be
buddy.
safe.
Talk some sense to me, man. Talk me off a cliff, Dr. Bill, man. Get me right again. Once you click off Dr. Bill?
Yeah, Kevin's getting hysterical. over here.
Yeah, talk me down, man.
I wish I had better words, but all I can tell you is the whole nation and the whole world got to see a man being murdered. And then it's so often is the case throughout history. You kill one of mine, I'll kill one of yours. You do wrong to mine, I'll do wrong to yours. But the man in the corner there, our new blue belt, he can lift up his sax and play some music, and we could invite somebody to our table and feed him. Because you're not going to beat violence with violence. You need to be able to perform violence, but we're not going to beat violence with violence. And I'd rather sit all these people down and feed them and play some music and love my neighbor, not a black man, not a white man, just a man or a woman, not a cop or not cop. These people that put on the uniforms, they're humans. The man that got killed was a human. We forget that.
Yeah, I mean, I get that, Bill. I do understand that. And I understand that that's the way I want it to go. And I'd love a world that subsides like that. But
all right, we have a Trump blamer here. Let's see what we
how much
this is somehow Trump.
I don't even want to go down that road. I agree with you, Mark, but I'm trying to keep it apolitical. I don't want to piss anybody off.
I think we should talk about this comment.
What's he say?
How much of what we're seeing is because some of the cops are jacked up on political crap and emboldened to abuse or kill minorities? Boom. I mean, I think the problem comes from way farther back. And again, I'm 100% do not think that this is wholly an issue of racism, Mark, and I'm going to stand firm on that. I didn't want to say that. I know a lot of people are going to be pissed off at me about that, but I don't believe the issue is racist intent. I believe the issue is a systemic problem within the police force, whereupon good cops, because they've served for a long time or whatever the fuck reason, that are burnt out, get away with being complete fucking cocks and doing whatever the fuck they want to do and breaking whatever rules and beating the shit out of fucking people. Because, well, he's still a good cop and we need to leave him on the fucking force. And the fraternal brotherhood of the police organization turns their head and allows it to fucking happen. And that's 100%, 100 fucking % what happened in this scenario.
So, Kevin, you're angry.
I am angry.
You are angry. A lot of people are angry, and
just in general, though, Bill, not just, I mean, today a little bit more, but, you know.
A lot of people are angry and a lot of people are afraid. And I'm an atheist, but I got a lot of respect. And the thing that tormented Mother Teresa at the end of her life is she could no longer hear the voice of God. And these things happen, and they're so senseless. Why did that man have to die? And then why did the riots have to happen? And whether you believe in God or not, sometimes you got to just close your eyes and try to listen to that music and listen to that voice and listen to some form of hope. And we have to calm people down. We have to feed them and nurture them and love them and bring them back.
I know that. And the point I'm trying to make is like, yes, you're right. Eventually we need to have a kumbaya and come to Jesus moment. And this is going to pass. People aren't going to riot for fucking. Oh, Dr. Ferguson just called me. You want to see if he wants to come on. You still there?
I personally don't think that police are particularly emboldened by any political philosophy. It just doesn't make sense to me. I mean, there's cops that voted for Hillary, and there's cops that voted for.
We're live right now,
Trump,
man.
So, I'm gonna mute his mic.
Yeah, we're live right now.
There's cops that voted for Hillary. There's cops that voted for Trump.
There's black cops. There's white cops. There's Asian cops. There's Hispanic cops. Cops are people. They put on a uniform and they want to get home at night. On the other hand, whether it's a civilian or a cop, there are murderers and violent people out there, just like the general population, and we have to oppose that. When we see it, we got to call it out.
Right. I totally agree with that. So yeah, I don't see this being some kind of, I don't see how you can blame this on an ideology or political person or whatever. It's just,
I blame it on somebody putting their knee on another man's neck.
Right. Some fucking dickhead. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, it bothers me because I work with so many good cops. All the cops at my gym are great. They're excellent people. They give you the shirt off their back. They really would. And, they're in there just trying to make themselves better people, better jiu-jitsu practitioners. And they take their job serious, and they go out and they try to do their harm and try to do no harm and just get home from the end of their shift, and I think that's the majority. I think that's the majority of police. But, I think also Kevin is right. Every once in a while you run across someone who's maybe been in a position for too long and maybe they're just burnt out. Whatever the case may be, he's off the phone now. I'm going to unmute him. Whatever the case may be. And you end up with
I got Dr. Ferguson's going to jump on. He's driving.
So I can say this too from the cancer ward. Like when we're sitting there in the chemo chairs, we're not sitting there thinking, oh, that guy's a black guy, he's Hispanic, he's Asian, she's whatever. We're just thinking like we're all dying and we all want each other to make it. At the end of the day, we're all going to die. At the end of this day, all this stuff doesn't mean anything. Like we got to just try to be a little fucking nicer to each other. That's it.
But if we don't solve the problem, we don't cure the disease, this isn't the last time this happens. And that's the bottom line.
Kevin, this guy, as far as I know, the charge was he wrote a fraudulent check.
Right.
So the question to your point is, how did he end up on the ground in handcuffs with a man's knee on his neck?
I watched.
Fraudulent check.
It wasn't a fraudulent check. It was counterfeit bills. I watched a complete timeline of the scenario, and I am convinced because I had the same opinion, and I am convinced that up until the point of the man's unresponsiveness, the police were completely in the right with their actions because he's a big dude, scary. He was resisting arrest, and like, dude, I work all the time, man. I work out on the street all the time, and I'm not gonna listen. I'm not gonna entertain anyone that tells me that the police arbitrarily just throw people on the ground and stick their knees and hold them there on the ground for no fucking reason. I can't condone that. I can't say that's the fact. But the problem lies there when he is now unconscious, unresponsive for 4 minutes, and they continue to maintain him on the ground, whereupon he died. Dr. Ferguson, what's up, my man?
Dr. Ferguson.
Well, let me
don't
assure
die.
you.
First of all, don't die while you're driving.
No. Let me assure you that the police do throw people on the ground and put their knees on the back of their necks for no reason. I am a living witness that I've been thrown on the ground, had a gun put to my head, and haven't done anything. I was there with a couple other people. I've had the police pull guns out on me on more than 5 occasions. I've been pulled over for nothing. I've been given tickets because I had a tail light out that was never out. So just because you don't believe it doesn't mean it doesn't happen. I respect all of you gentlemen, and I love you. You all do not live the life that I live, and I don't live the one that you live. But I am telling you for a fact, listen to me when I am talking to you, that the police do rough people up. I have been living now for 45 years. I'm as an African-American male. I've heard the stories over and over again when I was growing up in the house of people coming home, beat up, people who did not make it home. The difference is now we have social media, so now things are being recorded. I am telling you right now, there's a legitimate fear and angst that people have with the police. I have my registration in my car. I never in the past 7 years have ever reached for my registration. I get this ticket for not having my registration and go to the courthouse the next day and pay the money or get it stricken off my record because I don't want to reach in the glove compartment and get shot in the back of the head. You all do not know what you're talking about, and I love you with the utmost respect. But I am telling you, until you have understood that particular fear, listen, I don't even know this guy, okay? I don't even know this guy. I'm pulling up here. I'm on a live Facebook podcast, my man. I'm not gonna put you on that. My man, have you ever been pulled over by the police? Yeah. Have they put the gun on you before? No. They haven't put the gun. Have they taken you out the car? No. He never got taken out the car. You got friends that have been taken out the car, though, right? Yeah. Yes.
Roddy, let me ask you a question. Have you ever been arrested?
No, I've never been arrested.
Raise your hand if you've been arrested for mouthing off to a cop.
No, but that's not the point.
No, but I understand that for a second, Kevin. Because there's a couple things here. Number one, most of these deaths by the police happen to males, and males get arrested a lot. So, like, as males, all of us, we got to be a little careful how we conduct ourselves. And I respect Roddy's point, and I hear you, because I got arrested for mouthing off to a cop, and that was 30 years ago, and I never mouthed off to a cop again. I get it. So the question now is, how do we encourage and how do we systemically get the best behavior that the police can offer, and how do we calm the people that want to riot down, and how do we minimize the death?
That we'll talk about that later. But the point I'm trying to what I want to bring, like what I want to say first, real quick, Roddy. I want to say this. Like I agree with you. I 100% agree with you because I am, and I say this all the time. Like I'm a white man that lives in America. I can say that I understand what you go through simply because I can, in my mind, rationalize it. But there's no way I can ever say that I can feel like I understand it. I live with it because I've never had to live with it before. I can't relate because I'm not a black man. And I know 100% most of the black people, most of my African-American friends that I know that I'm cool with, and I'm not a racist person, I can tell. And I don't know what it's like to live like a black man in America. And I bet it's very fucking difficult and very fearful. And it's hard. The point I'm trying to make is this, man. Like, I just feel like that what we're dealing with now, and I get the fact that the black community is upset because they have to deal with this shit all the fucking time. Like, it's not even about the police. It's just being black walking in the store. And, you know, there's a paranoia just that's
Kevin,
associated with that.
Roddy's story. Let's let Roddy tell his story. Let's hear what Roddy's going to say.
No, I understand what he's getting. There's a point where it is black and white because that's the correlation, and then there's a point when it isn't black and white. There's a point when it's just a poverty issue. There is a point when where it's a poverty issue. Now we can't take our finger off the pulse of the racism issue, but it is a poverty issue too. The biggest joke or the lie ever told is that meritocracy exists. Meritocracy is taught to us in a capitalistic system to let us believe that we can be at the bottom and make it to the top. You have to constantly, monies from Republican presidents they're constantly not injected into the middle class as much as Democratic presidents. And every time it's injected into the middle class, the Republicans say, "Oh, it's socialist program, You have to inject money in the middle class, otherwise the middle class will shrink. You get an obelisk, and the system will topple. What you saw with the coronavirus situation is you immediately saw the labor pulled out of the middle class. When the labor got pulled out of the middle class, that the middle class immediately shrunk. Trump had to immediately put, or any president has immediately inject some money in that middle class, but the middle class shrunk. The lower middle class is now impoverished, and now you have an obelisk which is getting ready to topple over. You have a bunch of people who are impoverished who feel like they've been disenfranchised by the people on the top. So when you see rioting and you see looting, what you're watching is people who are there are no people in the high upper middle class or rich who are outside protesting or looting. It's people who are impoverished and feel like they have been disenfranchised. So in that moment where they're disenfranchised, there's a moment of what crowd delirium, if you will, where they feel like I should be able to have some of the things that these other people have, and that's where the looting comes from.
But
this is what happened. You have to take. Let me make this point. Nobody on this podcast, nobody with any quality sense, nobody who believes in America believes in looting and believes in stealing and robbing people or hurting others. Nobody. You have to understand the stimulus that recreates the response. And if we sit down and we focus on the response and we do not address the stimulus, we're going to have issues. That is the major problem.
That's the entirety of what I've said throughout the entire my entire premise of my entire anger of this problem is that we're looking at the riots as the problem. Or we're looking at the riots as a disease. The riots are not the disease. The riots are the symptoms of the oppression that has been going on for the last 20 years.
You got to treat the symptom too, because the rioters hurt their own community.
Right. Yeah, but we're going to get to that. The point of the matter is if we don't cause what's causing it, or we don't cure what's causing it, the fucking riots are going to happen again, because that's what happens throughout history.
So Kevin, I'm with you, Kevin. Let's jump across the divide and let's handle the other portion. All right, I'm down with handling the other portion. Let's handle the other portion. So what were you going to say about the symptoms?
So no, but the problem is that we live in a time where the police force feels like they're untouchable because they allow them to be so. They allow them to prey upon members of the community that are weaker than them, that don't have the opportunity to protect themselves.
That's a different. So here's the thing: all the conversations get conflated because people get on social media, me included, and we're talking about something that we're seeing through a separate lens, and somebody's looking through a different lens. So we conflate power structure, authoritarianism, racism. And then in the racism, there's passive racism, there's institutional racism, there's systemic racism, like all those particular, and there's active and overt racism. All those things get grouped into one big glob, if you will. Everybody who, let me say this, the one of the foremost experts in the study of prejudice and racism is a woman by the name of Dr. Beverly Daniel Tatum. She was the president of Spelman University for a while. She's a sociologist, and she's very good. And she's an authority in the interpersonal dynamics area. She defines, and there's not the Webster's dictionary version, but there's an actual academic definition for racism. Racism is prejudice plus power. The reason why some people say it's impossible for some black folks to be racist is because they're nowhere within the power structure to make things happen. That's not the discussion or argument I'm having. I'm talking about the academic definition of it. Now, the way that Dr. Beverly Daniel Tatum explains racism is that she says, we live in a society that is based upon systemic and institutional racism. It's like riding on a conveyor belt. If you're on that conveyor belt and you're just going along with what's happening, you are indeed a passive racist because you're not doing anything anti-racist to walk in the opposite direction. That is everybody who's on the conveyor belt, me included. Now, if you're in a system that you find privilege from because of institutional racism, and you're not doing anything anti-racist, you are by default a passive racist. Most people don't want to agree that there's a system in place, an institutional system, and a systemic system in place which provides advantages for some and not for others. There has to be. There has to be.
Can you point it out?
There is.
What is
Can I point out how?
what is
You got to bring it down for us. You got to make it tactical.
right? What is the actual system that's racist?
The actual system that's racist is based upon your legislative system, where you have, case in point, where you get more time for cocaine than you will for crack rock, knowing that drugs are pushed in both communities.
Isn't that something that was overturned or rewritten or whatever? Because I don't believe that happens anymore.
Well, also,
it did happen at one point.
Isn't the presence of manufacturing jobs or skilled jobs or doctor jobs and lawyer jobs more important than cocaine? I mean, we can make cocaine the issue and crack the issue, but the real thing, to your earlier point, is economics. Like, people got to be able to get good jobs.
The issue is that you guys live in a what about this culture. Stop saying what about this and accept what I say and then move on from that. Because otherwise,
those are all.
never get anywhere. What about this?
I agree with it. If I don't agree with it,
what about this? What about this? I mean, no, it's not about you agreeing with me or me agreeing with you. It's about where can we find some ground where you would accept what I say. I give an example. I give an example. You rejected the example.
But those I get all that.
Can't do nothing about
Those are all broad.
How do you want me to prove what is actually happening?
Well, because I can do something about jobs, but I can't do nothing about cocaine. I'm not interested in the guys that want to do cocaine. I'm interested in the guys that want jobs.
Right. But so, I mean, I get that. Those are all things that in the fixing the entirety of, like you said, I guess I spoke a little bit too large when I talked about fixing the disease instead of the symptoms. I'm talking about right now, these riots that are happening right now. The people are upset because they're sick of police officers killing people. And no matter how many times they try to do it peacefully, it doesn't seem to work. No one seems to get the fucking point. And these shitbag fucking cops are still allowed to keep their jobs and are not taken off the force of putting into positions to where they're not directly involved and able to continue to do their things on the fucking street.
Kevin,
that has to change right now.
You think there'd be like 3 strikes, you're out.
Well, it doesn't even have to be that way. I mean, it should be one fucking strike and you're fucked.
Right, gone, boom.
You're gone. You shouldn't be allowed to continue. I know it's a tough job. That's who cares. Being a doctor's a tough job. If you kill somebody on the table, you put the fucking heart in wrong. You know what? You ain't got a job no more.
The heart in wrong.
Yeah, well, you know what I'm saying.
That's just a great example.
No, but no, I get that. I 100% believe it. There's all, dude. But we could go down the fucking list of how the African American community is fucked in the ass on a daily basis, and they don't say it's they don't say it's racist, but it's fucking systemically geared to point that way. And again, a lot of it is because of socioeconomic conditions, but it's sure as hell fucking convenient that the majority of them are African American.
Yeah. So what I'm asking,
and then they have no representation.
And I'm sorry that I minimized the crack and the cocaine, but whether it's crack, cocaine, or meth, that's a difficult population to dig out until they're ready to dig out. What can we do about the people that aren't doing crack or cocaine or meth, but want the jobs, want the education, don't want their people killed, just want a shake? What can we do to get them their shake?
I don't know,
Man,
Dr. Roddy?
No clue, bro.
Neither do I.
Yeah, and that's the thing. We don't have a clue, but you know we have a clue about.
Time out. I do know this. Let's walk this thing back now. All right. Let's walk this thing back. Now, there was something called the Freedmen's Bureau Act. All right. The Freedmen's Bureau Act was created for the freedmen. All right. I forget if it's President Jackson or Johnson. I always get the names mixed up. But the Freedmen's Bureau Act was set to give the freed slaves, okay, 40 acres and a mule, because the number one disparity between the rich and poor is land ownership. All right. That 40 acres and a mule was provided to some, and then the order was rescinded. So they never got the things that they would do for the labor that they provided. Some of that land, some of the most precious land, is that land on the coast of North and South Carolina that was never given to black folks. They never got it. The order was rescinded because the landowners at the time, okay, the former Southern Confederate, did not want to give their land up. They felt like it was theirs, meaning the profited off of labor for a long period of time, and there was never any recompense. So what you hear, they're providing reparations.
Dr. Ferguson, I don't mean to interrupt you, but you're breaking up really badly.
We can barely hear you. Yeah, he's gone.
I think we lost him.
We lost him. I love
Hey,
it.
Kevin, I appreciate you bringing him on, and I appreciate you bringing me on, and I appreciate the dialogue. I actually got a lot of respect for Dr. Roddy.
And so do I. I have a lot of respect for you.
Me too. Me too, man.
Go ahead. But I didn't want to go down that, because there of course there are fucking horrible fucking systemic issues that are leading to this behind the scenes. But we ain't solving that tomorrow. We ain't solving that anytime fucking soon. We're talking about fucking years and years of legislation to unfuck a fucked system that's been fucked for generations. What we can solve though is fucking getting rid of the fucking bullshit good old boy cops that are running this fucking world right now, that feel like they can do whatever the fuck they want to do. And we need to start doing it. And we can't talk about it. We can't have a powwow with all the politicians and have
Kevin,
photo ops.
Being careful not to demonize all cops.
No, I'm not at all.
Yeah.
And by no stream am I doing that. But what I'm saying is, so being a police officer is a fucking difficult job. It sucks, man. Trust me. I work in a bar and I have to throw homeless people out all the fucking time. And I fucking hate it. And there are times when I come in there when I'm cool, because I try to treat them like people, because I get it. They're whatever. They're human beings. But there's other times when I come in there where I don't give a fuck. And when I'm a mean motherfucker, I'm a mean motherfucker. you know what I'm talking about? But the point of the matter is like, I don't have a choice. I'm married to that fucking place. I got to be there. There needs to be checks and balances. There needs to be times when we say, hey, you know what? Come here, Joe. It looks like you're having a bad day. You know what? You're not going to go out today. We're going to send somebody else out, and you're going to work in the office.
The best suggestion I heard, I think, from anybody besides Sonny's Rasta police science suggestion, which I thought was very novel and interesting. You're welcome. In all seriousness, I think it's a suggestion that if we could get more of the police force that services a community to be from that community, we might be a little better off.
Yeah, I agree with you. I 100% agree with you. Like, there needs to be a discussion made between.
Dr.
What's up, Dr. Ferguson? Sorry, your internet cut out.
Your internet went bad on us.
You're back to it, Doctor.
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me?
Yeah, we're better now.
So
you can hear me.
Yeah, we're good. Can you hear us?
I can hear you.
Yeah, you're good. So the point I'm trying to the point I made is this. I love you, and I know you come from a place of fucking deep education and deep thought on the circumstances. And what I'm trying to say to you is this: like, we are not going to solve the ridiculous systemic problems that have plagued our country and the African American community for generations over the next 6 months. It's going to take decades of legislation to try to unfuck that, right? We don't have time to solve that today. But what we can solve is, how do we figure out the problem of police officers in our country? How do we deal with that? Because that needs to be dealt with right now. And it needs to be fixed right now. because we can't keep having people dying, because in the world of fucking social media, it's on in everyone's faces. And now we have a situation where we have riots worldwide because of it.
So, Dr. Ferguson, do you have like maybe one or two or three things that might help practically?
How do you feel about that?
I don't think you can hear me.
You hear it, Dr. F?
I don't think you can hear me. Son of a bitch.
Can you hear us, Dr. Ferguson?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah. So what do you?
But let me say this, man, because I was making this point, and I don't want to get off of your point, Kevin. But the education is so important. All right.
There you go.
I think the dialogue is richer when the education is there. And this is a great time for me because most white folks in the United States have never taken a course on Black philosophy, Black studies, African studies, or anything, African American studies, or anything.
I
know
personally
shit.
have not done that. No.
They haven't taken shit. When you're in K through 12, and this is part of the systemic racism issue, is K through 12. When you have done great in school, you get an opportunity to take AP European history or AP American history. There is no AP African American history. I've taken more African American and Black studies classes at Howard University than most people have taken a stick at. The reason why I say that is because, as I was saying earlier, when you ask for what the original fix was, the original fix was the Freedmen's Bureau Act, which was provided by either President Johnson or Jackson, which provided Black folks with 40 acres and a mule, what you call reparations today. The greatest gap that we have in terms of disparity of socioeconomic status is based upon land ownership. We don't own as much land as our counterparts. And the act was rescinded because the Southern landowners did not want to give up what they felt was their portion of land or what belonged to them, because they believed that they should be able to experience all those years of labor for free.
And African Americans have been secondary citizens ever since.
Well,
exactly, mainly because the Freedmen's Bureau Act was never honored.
And there's also, and it says even that like people don't understand the emotional and the psychological implications of that. So not only do you not have the money, you don't believe like you deserve it. You don't believe like
let me ask a question.
The concept of even going after that isn't even in your fucking horizon.
Raise your hand if you're on this call. Hold on for a second, Dr. Roddy. Raise your hand if you're on this call on your own land.
So you have, I think it's
Dr. Roddy, hold on 1 second. 1 second.
If I remember correctly.
Hold on 1 second, Dr. Roddy.
Does anybody on this call?
He can't hear you, Bill.
You can't hear me. Because I don't think nobody on this call, if I'm mistaken, owns lands with no mortgage. Who on this call owns any land with no mortgage? Raise your hand.
Hear me.
I can hear you. He can't hear Bill.
Dr. Roddy.
Bill, click out and clock off
that?
and clock back in again. Clock in, we'll pull you back on again. You'll be right.
Me?
Yeah. And we'll pull you right back on.
Okay.
Oh, so what you have are gains of slavery which exist in Black folk, but they feel like they can't make it. And when that happens, you have people who feel that they don't have anything to live for. And then they have a lot different.
Not to mention not an understanding of like their true, like this is something I think about all the time. Like, because like African American is a general terminology. Like it's something that like I know I'm Irish and Italian, so I have that ethos of like that's where I come from. Like you say African American, but you're from Jamaica, man. you know what I'm talking about? Like that you to say you're African American is a generalization. You don't have any like real roots into your fucking into your community where you come from. That means something.
But also, to Dr. Roddy's earlier point about the 40 acres and a mule, does anybody on this call own land without a mortgage to the bank? Or who in here owns land, period, even with a mortgage to a bank? Raise your hand. Does anybody on this call own land?
I don't own land.
So, because most people they don't own land. Either the bank owns it or somebody owns it. But we can do things with education. We can do things with jobs. Like in Baltimore, I helped them get municipal broadband for the projects. They don't got to pay for broadband because Comcast and Verizon weren't going in the projects. What are the tacticals, which may not be 40 acres and a mule, that we can do today? Because Kevin, you don't own no land. Sonny, you don't own no land. What can we do today?
Right, and we're starting the idea of land ownership and actual fucking owning of anything is starting to slip away from everyone's grasp as our community. Everything's going to big corporations now. Big banks.
Because if they handed anybody, Roddy, me, Sonny, you, 40 acres, what would you do with it?
Yeah, I get all that, man.
I built a recording studio.
I just feel like I understand. Believe me, I get it. I understand the break and the sever between the normal citizens and those the haves and the have-nots. But as a community, unless we solve small problems, things like that, and you compartmentalize and you solve as you go.
That's
Because
right.
This shit's going to continue to happen.
Problems we can solve.
Yeah, this is a template for things to happen in the future.
Did
Right.
we lose Roddy?
We did.
I think we did, yeah. I love you guys. I'm ready to fucking call it. I'm
All
fucking
right.
cracker there. It's
Hey,
been a
Kevin,
fucking
it was nice
hour.
for you to have me on.
Bill, I love you, man. Again,
So
if
much.
I was ever mean to you, you know I'm a dick, and you know I love you, man. All right, be good, Bubba.
Oh,
Bill,
wait.
take it easy.
There's Roddy.
We got Roddy back.
You're back again. All right, guys.
There he is.
You got about 10 more minutes, Roddy. I'm about to lose my
Hey, man,
mind.
listen.
All right.
Okay, here's how we immediately fix it.
All right.
Hit it.
Let's talk about it. I want to hear what you have to say.
Sport fixes everything. I think if everybody got on the mat.
I like it.
No, seriously. No, seriously.
Is it jiu-jitsu, though? Because that's the real question.
It doesn't matter. I think if everybody got on the mat, if everybody played more sports, if everybody played more soccer, you learn so much through sport and the interaction of sport. You learn how to work hard. You learn how it's not about what color somebody is. It's about teamwork. It's about working together. If we had any advice, all of us to close, all right, as coaches, we're all coaches and practitioners. Get your kids into sports. Allow them to, and if you're in an area where you're in a homogeneous society, okay, get your kids into sports where they got or a travel team where they got to go out and play with other people and do all the things. Get your kids into sport, even if it's a chess club where you got to travel to New York or California, or jump in your car. Expose yourself to different people through competition and through sport.
I love it.
And add a sport music too, right?
I love it.
That's what we could do
As much as I agree with you, Dr. Ferguson, and this is the same thing I said to Bill, because Bill said we have to love each other, cook food, and I get that. But are those distractions? Because sports are great, but is it really fixing anything if our whole we're not thinking about our world falling apart?
Well, the point that Roddy is making, I think, is that if you bring these kids up from the bottom up, if you start these kids young, put them in together with interracial situations, and they bring them up. By the time they're in their 20s, 25 years old, now it's like there's no more racism because we're just.
If Roddy and I played some sports and I fed him some barbecue, we'd be better off than we didn't do that.
I think we're getting to that point. I really want to believe in a country that we have grown and we've come, and racism is still a real thing. I would like to believe that we have come a far, far way, and the next generations of our country are going to be better. But I don't know anymore with this fucking knucklehead running the fucking show. I don't know. One last question I want to ask you before you go, Roddy. I want to ask you one more question because I don't want to get off on too many far tangents, and I'm blown. I'm done. I can't talk no more.
He's getting blown right now.
I'm actually. Nah, I wish I was. If I was, we'd talk for another 45 minutes. No, right, exactly.
You ain't lasting 45 minutes.
Shut the hell up. But we'd be able to talk. I'd be clear-headed again. Quick, the one question I want to ask you before we break, because this is important to me. Do you believe that we can fix the problems that we're dealing with right now, with the police brutality, with black people dying in the streets because of police actions? Can we fix that problem by fixing the police force without fixing the big problem, which is 100% systemic racism in our country's foundations? Do you understand the question?
Yeah. No, yes.
Right.
Yes.
Right. And that's what I want to see, because that's what I think. And again, who knows? Because now we got a template for fucking mass dissension. You know what I'm talking about? So now people, oh well, fuck, we can just riot. You know that's what frightens me.
Dr. Roddy, you were on one of the points that was discussed. If we got more people hired into the police from the communities that they police, we might be a little better off.
I said that.
All right, Sonny, you said it.
I said that. Sonny said that. I said that.
Sonny had another guy on the other day, and they were talking about connection. If you got no connection with the community, that's a little problematic. You got to have a connection with your community.
Yeah.
And this is why you saw in the rioting, you saw certain stores where people were out front protecting the store, and you saw certain stores that were not.
That's right.
My friend, her name is Dr. Alexandra Jones. She's a archaeologist and an anthropologist, and her big thing is about when anthropologists and archaeologists go into places, communities, and countries, and they dig up things. She said they don't donate anything. I never thought about that. She says, yeah, they go in, they dig up, and they take resources, and they be like, look what I found, but they don't give anything back. And she said, that's the wrong thing to do. You can't go into somebody's place, dig it up, and say, look what I found, and not give anything back. I didn't think about that until I thought about the Best Buy down in Brandon. Now, I don't know what the Best Buy in Brandon does. I know that the Best Buy in Brandon is not at the forefront of people's minds on what they've given back to the community. They're on the forefront of people's minds if I need a 55-inch TV, if I need a video game, if I need headphones, but if people can't look at your business and think about what you've given, and they only look at your business and think about what you're taking, therein lies the problem. There's no community connection. It's like all of us who are martial artists, our school has either gone out into community or gone out into the elementary schools or done the Great American Teach-In and go show people what it is that we do to build a relationship with the community. We're business owners that have one-on-one connection with our customers. You don't know who the hell owns the Target. You don't know who owns the Starbucks. You don't know who owns it. And you should.
Yeah, well, they're way up the ladder having that eyes wide shut party.
But that's going back into the initial statement, because if you're not supporting local businesses, you're not paying yourself. Because if you're keeping the money and you go down to the mom and pop shop and you give that guy their money, you know what he does? He comes back and he supports your jiu-jitsu school and he gives you the money right back again. So you're circling money within your own micro economy. When you give the money to Best Buy, they put that money in a fucking escrow account. They ain't spending no more goddamn money in the fucking community. Maybe they hire some people, but you ain't getting that money back. You find that? But again, those are big problems. Hopefully, we can solve.
Those are macro issues. Yeah. So, the question you asked me: if the plumbing is messed up in the city, all right, and it's causing some problems in my house, can I fix the issue in my house? Yes, I can. To sustain me for a period of time, I can put some tape on the pipes. There are some things that we can do to put tapes on the pipes. The one thing that we can do is the police force can reflect the community. Number two, what we can do is we can get better training for the police force. Number three, we have to have some type of community review board for the hiring and discipline of officers.
I'll add one more. I think we can start.
Don't a lot of police forces have what's it called? It's called like a civilian oversight committee.
Yeah, civilian oversight or civilian complaint and review board. My mom worked on the civilian complaint and review board in Washington, D.C. That's one of the things that got the gun from up the back of my head. I said, my mother worked for the civilian complaint and review board.
So, Kevin, I'm going to leave you with one thing, and I just want us all to think about it. I know I got a little esoteric on the call about.
You're Dr. Bill, though. You're allowed to do that.
So,
Dr. Esoteric William Murphy. That's what
I shared a video with Sonny, which is a horrible video. A man was trying to throw a Molotov cocktail into some other people, and he lit himself on fire by mistake. And I shared that video with a couple people, and one group in particular just kept laughing and laughing at the man that burned himself. And I'm not laughing at him. And I'm not laughing that he was trying to, I'm not celebrating karma because he was trying to burn somebody else. I'm just sad.
Yes.
I don't want to see nobody get killed and nobody get hurt.
No, I get that. I want to understand, but I know that, and I applaud you. And the only reason I kept moving on when you say that is because I don't want people to become complacent. I don't want them to just say, hey, you're right, let's just love and move on, because nothing gets fucking solved. And unfortunately,
we need the
for riots or to solve problems when nothing else works.
Holster. We need the gun and the sword, but we need to know when we keep it in the holster.
Yeah, but
we have a talk and we feed people.
I agree with you, but there's also a part of me that says, you know what? When you offer your fucking hand and you offer someone your loyalty and you try to do things peacefully a few times, if they don't fucking listen, you punch them in the fucking face.
I get it.
And unfortunately, that's what's happened with these fucking riots. Because if you can't get things fucking peacefully, you go out there and you fucking take it.
Let me say this. And we could be here all day, but I want to say this because there's some people listening, and the education is so poor on some of these issues that people say Martin Luther King, his protests were nonviolent. Martin Luther King's protests weren't nonviolent. The protesters didn't fight back.
Yeah.
But the protests were violent.
Yeah.
That's a good
And
point,
when you say stuff like that in a time like this, what black folks hear you saying is, you need to be like Martin Luther King and don't fight back when we beat you. Now that's not what you're saying, but that's what people hear. And what people don't know is they don't know that Martin Luther King and Malcolm X worked hand in hand. Malcolm was super radical and King wasn't, because they were trying to get an agenda passed through, and they knew that people would repel what Malcolm was spewing and accept what Dr. King was spewing, so that the agenda of civil rights.
I hear you. We had one of our black belts today say, I got my AK-47, I'm ready for these riots. I said, put it away. Have it ready, but put it away. Don't be going out looking for trouble.
I got my guns loaded too, man. I'm not gonna lie to you, man.
You hear what I'm saying? Like, I'm trying to keep my own people calm. Put it away.
But so whatever. We're getting again. I'm beat. So I'm gonna say one more thing, man. And this is something that I hope resonates deeply. And the point of the matter is this: is like, if we do not, as a society, figure out ways to fix the problems with our world. And again, this goes deeper than racism. This goes to a socioeconomic position. We're in a world right now where, like, our ability to have wealth and to have land and to be able to say we own a piece of our country is being taken away from us systematically over and over and over again. It's ridiculous when you see the wealth disparities. And as much as you want to believe I got my little business, that's cool. It ain't the same as having fucking wealth. It's not.
I'm gonna end this podcast with a mic drop. I'm gonna steal from Dave Chappelle, and I'm gonna say this: we have an election coming up. It is the responsibility, is the duty of every black person in this country to register for a legal firearm.
Hey, I like that message.
Whatever.
That's Dave Chappelle.
I'm
That's
done.
Dave
White
Chappelle.
guys and black guys both. All of
If
them.
we don't fix these fucking problems, though, this shit's gonna happen again, because now people see it works. And trust me, I'm not just talking about fucking cops. I'm talking about all kinds of shit. You're
But
going to see
Sonny,
these riots happen again.
okay.
People are going to uprise and go after what they want if we don't fucking
I
find out
want
when-
people to have their firearms, but I want them to know when not to use them too. That's even more important.
Fuck you guys and your guns. I'm tired. Let's do this thing. You guys, Dr. Ferguson, thank you so much for
Hey,
coming on,
Doctor,
brother. I love
nice
you,
to
man.
talk to you.
I always love you, my man. Be good,
Doctor.
brother.
Doctor.
Doctor. Yeah, Doctor. Click the doctors off.